Oh boy. Here we are, getting the shop open up. Lights, camera, action. How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in. Right off the bat, siren, first thing. I love Kissimmee. Ambulance. That vehicle came in for a weird noise. We fixed it. The weird noise is gone, but we made a new noise during the repairs. That's not really the primary focus of this channel. We take you to work in the shop, fixing cars, solving problems all day long. That's what we do. We make it work, literally and figuratively. We're gonna finish getting this place open up, learn things, have fun, and see what we can do to get people back on the road. So that's what we're gonna do. Finish opening it up and get started. Stay tuned. I did finally empty the garbage. I couldn't stand it anymore, but haven't done that yet. I'm busy, so maybe one of the other guys will do it. We'll see. We got a new tool to test out. Let's get it out of the box, see what it is. You know what that is, right? Get the sleeve off of here, see what it looks like. You guys know I like to do tool reviews once in a while, especially something cool like an inductive heater. I have similar tools from other brands to compare it to, but oh wow, that looks pretty nice actually. This is a insulating sheathing or cover that if it touches something, it won't totally destroy the copper leads. Instructions. This has the manual knobs that you screw in when you want to lock this. Some of them are automatic, some of them clip in, some screw in. This one has the screw in knobs. We'll get this thing ready. So we're definitely going to try this thing out, see how it works. It looks good from appearance, except for I don't have it in a proper location for this. Plastic's got a little texture, so it shouldn't be too slippery in the hand. Power button. All right, let's put this thing to use. We'll have to find some rusty bolts to work on. Parts aren't going to be here for a little while. We got a camper motorhome dealio to do an oil change on, so I put it back together to get it off the rack for now, and we'll revisit it when the parts arrive. On a sad note, the replacement quit today, so we're down another man. You get used to it after a while. We got a 2018 Ford EcoSport. It won't go. This is a tiny baby Escape, basically. I think it's got a 3-cylinder, 1-liter turbocharged monster. Check engine light's not on right now, and I drove it in. They said it wouldn't go over 5 miles an hour, and the check engine light is on. I'm guessing it's going to be a stored code, and I'm also guessing it might act up when it gets hot, but we'll see. She's in rough shape, but it's got 83,000 miles on it, so you could understand that. I'll go ahead and get this all hooked up. We'll take a look at those pesky codes, give it a love rating of 2. Let's see what we can do to make it work. I think I'm going to be doing the Jeep. It's been here since like Wednesday or Thursday last week, and needs an oil cooler, a starter, and something else, and replacement was going to do it, but now I think I'm going to do it. It's on my box, so I got a couple tickets to look at first, and then we'll get on that Jeep, try to get it back to him. Seems to run pretty good. The idle's a little high. Modern cars tend to idle around 600-700 RPM at the most usually. Just something to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that's a problem, but we'll see. Ford India Limited. Okay. I already did switch on the key. That's how we're talking in the first place. I call that a redundancy in the business. Oh, I hope it's not going to make me do some security access stuff. We got engine starter performance, internal control module start stop, throttle actuator A stuck open, that's not good. Coolant pump A stuck off. Engine starter performance. Evap system purge line restricted and blocked. Internal control module start stop. Throttle actuator A. Coolant pump A. Whew! I sent a report. These are all history codes or continuous. I don't see. It also says 134,000 in here. Sometimes the scan tool will throw a guess out there, I guess. Either that or there's a whole bunch of cars with the mileage not showing correct. So it is what it is. We're going to make do and figure things out. It's not overheating. I'm letting it run a little while so we can see what it's doing. And I haven't had a problem with it overheating or anything. I'm assuming it went into some kind of limp mode. We're going to try to duplicate the problem. And I've got an hour to figure it out. We're about 45 minutes in. That's kind of unfortunate. A lot of it's just letting it run. I try not to credit too much of that time as long as I have something else to do. If it's something I have to stay on top of and watch 100% of the time, then yeah, I have to charge for that time. We do what we have to do in this world, right? Let's do a key on engine running test. See what it sets for that. It'll say that some of them say hit the brakes. Okay, press and release the brake. Turn the steering wheel 1/2 turn and release. Cycle the transmission overdrive. I don't see that. This is up and down. I don't think this has an OD button. We'll let this cook a minute. This thing also, it's trying to figure out what engine and transmission in it is. There's 26 engine possibilities, 6 transmission possibilities, and no information under the hood about which is which. You have to find the build sheet, the build tag. It's in the glove box or by the spare or something like that. But I just put in the 1 liter, picked the one. There was only 3 1 liters out of the 24 choices, and I picked the first transmission, which was 6-speed automatic. It shouldn't affect the codes, but it might affect if I want to try to do bidirectional testing and things like that. I'll have to find out exactly what we have in there. I thought this test would be done now, by now, but flappity flap flap flap. Dale stopped by. He hasn't been here in a while. Usually he used to stop by about once a month. It's been probably 5-6 months since he's come by. He's like, there's nobody I know here except you. Well, Joe's here too, so. He just got back from Sturgis. He rides a Harley. He used to work here years ago. He left over, he couldn't get healthcare coverage. He left and went to work for a utility company doing fleet maintenance. Anywho, starter performance, control module, start stop, continuous, coolant pump. It's reset the same codes? No, it's just, all right, clear codes. All right, we're gonna have to edit this way down. All right, no codes except, hey, you left the AC on, man. We can't have you comfortable during this test. I'm gonna bring up some data. We'll take a look at temperatures and coolant pump commands. Coolant pump A, coolant pump B. This has a mechanical water pump. It looks like belt driven. So I don't know if it has auxiliary pump separate from the mechanical pump. It also has the low battery will change the coolant fan status. Electric power steering can change the cooling fan status. Whole bunch of reasons for it. What I find really interesting is look at all the air conditioning actuator PIDs. Air conditioning, air conditioning, air conditioning, air conditioning. There's a bunch. Anyway, let's see if we can get this thing to overheat and duplicate this concern. The gauge on the temperature probably shouldn't go over about halfway. So we can take a look at that and see. We can even do cylinder head temperature. There's 2 data PIDs for cylinder head temperature 2. Cylinder head temperature 2, cylinder head temperature 1 is somewhere up here, I would assume. Nope. Cylinder head temperature 2 voltage. 585 data PIDs. Alright, let's pick some of them and come back. Alright, we've got cylinder head temperature, coolant temperature. Coolant pump A is commanded on, false. Coolant pump B, control speed 0. Coolant pump B, no fault detected. Coolant pump A, pump off, there is no fault. So even the coolant pump A and B, you can see this one and this one, those are two pumps. They could be for turbocharger, intercooler, just about anything, so who knows for sure. And they don't look the same either, so the data lines are done differently from this one to this one. So I'm gonna let it run a little bit and see if it acts up. I got to do the inspection as well, so we'll do that and we'll figure it out if it'll do it again. It could even have a bad battery. I'll need to test the battery. You should always do that with every diagnosis, and we'll see. We'll come back. All right, got my scanner put away, back on charge. It sat in this apparently all weekend, but that's all right. At least I got to do the work. I don't know who used the scanner. I'm guessing someone up front, but we're gonna do an oil cooler, a starter, and a thermostat. So it might be a little repetitive. If you've seen the last time, I just did one of these about, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 6 weeks. We're gonna do another one real quick. I probably won't film 100% of it, but I will definitely catch enough of it if it helps somebody out who hasn't seen the other video. And then we'll do the starter and stuff too. You know, disconnect the battery. This is a Jeep, so you got to add like 100 lights and other circuits and stuff, make it really cool for off-road action. I'm going to take the front tires off just to get a little lower on the ground. And now that I've located the wheel lock and my skinny sockets, should be easy. Make sure he's got it lifted right. Oh, no he doesn't. Okay, we'll fix that first. Like it, but it is what it is. There's that little rascal up there. Nothing but a thing. Quick electrical connector and a battery cable nut, 13mm. I don't want to lift this any higher. I don't like the way it's on the lift. I tried to move it over with a floor jack, couldn't do it. But I got a block of wood under the rock guards, so still not in love with it, but we'll get the starter in, and that's the last we'll have to lift it, except to put the tires back on. The oil cooler all happened from the top. I think those are 15s up there, it looks like, maybe 13s. What do you think? You know what, I got a 13 right here, I can check. Oh my goodness gracious. That's a 15, that's what I thought. Go with your instincts, Jimmy.
Is that Omar stuck back there?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That's tight. Let's get something stronger. Let's try the 500 foot-pound impact. Alright. Not gonna do it. Let's try a 1/2 inch with the 3/8 adapter and the swivel. Unlike the previous test, now it's the same socket. Perfect. It was probably a good 150 foot-pounds. Well, I want to say they have these, the cable is pulled tight and held by a bracket, so it's hard to get off the starter lug. Ooh, doggy. Let's hope we can get it back on. Well, I'm not sure if you can see this. I cannot get the electrical plug connected because it looks like the solenoid connector is laying down on the starter body. There's no room to get the plastic connector housing in between them. If you'll get the original starter, see the gap? I gotta take the starter back out and see if I'm hallucinating. Looks like maybe it was dropped at some point or something. I think if I loosen these two back bolts, I can turn that so that it's straight and there's a gap here. So I'll fix the defective part. Doesn't seem to want to stay. I can only assume when I get it all bolted up it won't work. But we'll see. It's worth a try. Sometimes you got to put a starter in 2-3 times. Yeah, what's happening is when you tighten the main lug, the solenoid turns. It doesn't hold tight for some reason. So this time I plugged that little signal wire in first and then tightened the main lug. You gotta be tricky with these aftermarket parts. Call me cautious, but I want to try the starter before I do the rest of the work. So if it doesn't work, they can get me another one. I didn't look at it to see if it needed a starter. They just told me to put one in. So that's another concern, but let's just try this real quick. Then we'll get started on the oil cooler if it starts. This was going to be new Omar's ticket. It starts. Which is funny with it. He used my scanner. He was going to give that guy the ticket, but then he quit, so I got it. Yay! Alright, the only thing really hard on these is this silly bracket. It goes all the way down to the side of the head. Why they did that, it's a Jeep thing, I guess. If they made it out of rubber duckies, you could just flex it out of the way. But they elected not to. So once that bracket's out of the way, a couple hoses, the insulator, air inlet hose, some PCV and breather tubes, a couple electrical connectors. And there's a brace over here, and it comes right out. And the oil cooler's under it. You got to take the lower intake off too. More 8mm bolts. That's all 8mm bolts. Not too bad. The parts are rolling in for other vehicles now, so I'm not sure if I should continue on this or what. We'll see. bolts all look all worn out from how many times this has been apart. It's not really funny. Man, it got muggy. Must be getting ready to rain. More push pins. There's like 6 of them on there. Let's use this one. The problem is when you're holding yourself up with one hand, you don't have 2 more hands. For those who aren't familiar, that's what we're going after. Because Jeep thought a fragile oil filter housing would last forever, or they weren't too concerned. One of those two.
Right here. Apparently this is like a little luck thing.
Be like, you are number 8 for 2025. Good luck. Now, I'm going to take the coolant sensors, the one on the top, and oil pressure is on the bottom. If I take the coolant sensor off, then it's easier to get to that clamp for the heater hose. Give my back a 5-minute break. Stand upright for a moment. We'll go back at it. Well, can't get the sender out with my wrench. Ah! That's pretty tight for a plastic housing. My wrench was kind of like rolling over as I turned it because the sender doesn't have a whole bunch of brass. Alright. Now I can really get at the hose clamp good. Almost. Now I can get at the hose clamp good, I think. Hopefully I didn't turn it too far the other way. What's really funny is I'm figuring an engineer said, well, don't make that too long, it'll be fragile. the bar to put a hole in it. It wouldn't pull any, it would pull coolant, but not oil because it's thicker. So it would pull it through whatever hole there was. I cut 5 inches off the end of it, and now it works. So that's cool. Gonna pull the old oil and coolant out of here and start going back together. This gets the red O-ring. It is the earlier application. The new ones, there's a black one. They all come with the black one in place for some reason. I guess they're doing them on brand new ones more than they're doing them on older ones, which I don't know. I mean, I do like 2 or 3 of these a month, it seems like. So if every shop in the country is doing that, that's an awful lot of Jeeps that should have been fixed by now. But I guess if the 22 and newer are still breaking these things, someone's making money on it, or they'd have changed it. Quick oil changes and rotations. I'm not going to film them. I only got like 10,000 miles on them. Nothing to see here. Back on a Jeep momentarily, I hope. Got my electrical connectors on, got a little thread sealant on my senders. My clamp is in place. Everything's torqued down. I got to clean up the gaskets a little more. I got some new gaskets for this, so we're going to put them on there. I think, oh, I might have to, I think these are uppers. I think they got me to lower. That's a bummer. I'm going to let them know, and I'll put this here thermostat in real quick. It's almost 3:30 now, so we got a lot of oil changes knocked out, but now this one's not going to get done today, of course. But hey, you know what? We got a couple of happy people back on the road, and their services are up to date. Couple of those. Got the hose off of there. Cool thing is I already drained the coolant to do the other part, so that helps. Come on now. I gotta torque it anyway. Why am I'm trying to get it perfectly tight with my ratchet so that when I torque it, it'll be spot on. I'll just go click. I don't know why. It's an obsession. You guys remember this Saturn from last week? I snuck over here while I'm waiting on my lower gaskets so I can get these. All we're doing is the 2 subframe bolts that we're missing. I also, just between us, threw a couple quarts of oil we had laying around in it, and a couple quarts of coolant we had laying around. I found a really old, faded Dex Cool bottle. Put a few quarts in there so that light will go out. That's how we roll around here. There might not be no treads. Look how bad that hydraulic mount's leaking. You didn't know motor mounts could leak coolant, did you? Oh, this thing's gonna handle like a brand new car now. Yeah, these gaskets, you know, like I said before, sometimes I'll reuse them, but nah, these are pretty hurting. So we got some freshies. And it's a tight squeeze. You're supposed to take all this stuff off. But who wants to do that? Way too time consuming. It's a little more struggle this way, but it saves you like an hour. So you do what you gotta do. Here. Using that universal, you don't have a lot of options. You guys see what you have to go through to get to the bolt. So, and since 19 out of 20 people wouldn't torque them at all, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, since you can't really fit this in there too easily, I'll shove it back in there. Put this one in. Maybe the other way around. Sometimes you gotta manipulate it, especially with all the accessory wires and stuff. And these torque, tighten, electrical connectors, and all the push pins are push pins. The ambulances are on the way. There's that front of Matt. It's not that funny, bro. You guys probably can't hear him. Now, I have to go more to the left than I really want to get in the bracket down here. This guy. Almost anything can be a pry bar. Before I thread these bolts in, I gotta make sure these are arranged correctly. The back determines where they all go. This goes up at the very top, so where they go. Now I can start threading my bolts in. Balancing myself on the knees while I do that. There's two studs down here. They never land. You're supposed to take the battery box and all that stuff out, but again, who wants to do that? It's no fun. There's no challenge that way. So what I've done is I have a deep 10 swivel with a universal swivel on a long extension. So I can get back here and tighten these up. The heater hoses go on here. This goes here. 2 bolts, 2 nuts. I gotta make sure my nuts are really tight. We don't want them flopping around in there. Nobody wants to see that. I don't have to use that setup on all my nuts like I just did. I just enjoyed it, so yeah. Nice and tight, so when the oil cooler leaks again in 2 years, it's hard for the next guy too. I'm just kidding. It's not going to take 2 years to leak. It'll leak quicker than that. must really be important. It's just noise control. Whoops. There you go. So you don't hear that little Pentastar buzzing from behind the dashboard. Wiring harness is all push pin. There's a couple push pins, 3 electrical plugs, throttle body connector, air temp sender, 2 10mm bolts for this, some oil in this thing, hook up the battery and fire it up. They're not heavy. Uh-oh, we got actuator troubles. Wonder how long that'll take to stop. That's not annoying at all. Sounds like someone's got a 50 cal going in the background. Let's get some AC, man. It's warm. Running like a champ. I gotta check it for leaks. Make sure the fan blows hot air before it overheats. You guys know the drill. I've done a bunch of these now. And I'm not even sure if I filmed them all. I do a couple of months sometimes. I'll go 6 months without doing them, and then I'll do 3 or 4 in 1 month. I made a short about if I'm doing that many, and there's so many shops in the country or world. Think how many shops there are. And I'm not doing all of the ones we get in here. So think how many of these things are constantly having that repair done. Kind of a shame. It seems like a pretty decent motor. Well, other than the cams rounding out and the followers going bad and the oil cooler leaks and some of that stuff. But they run well when they're running good. Seems like a reasonable amount of power. When you put really big tires on, that kind of hurts them. You got to change the gearing and the differentials if you want to keep the power level the same and make your speedometer accurate. But then the brakes struggle because those giant tires with the stock brakes, it's much more rotating force, centrifugal force, and the brakes are working that much harder. So when you slam on the brakes going 60, as far as the brakes are concerned, you're going 80 or 90 because the tires are these aren't crazy big, but when you go much bigger than that, it will reduce your braking distance, will reduce your braking effectiveness, but it looks really cool. I just watched a video today of a guy. Got a lifted Dodge Ram with like 37s, and he goes over a speed bump in the parking lot, and he goes, I knew this lift kid would pay off. It does look cool, I'm not gonna lie though. And everyone's doing their own dance, right? But like my Tundra, that's staying stock. I'm not doing any of that stuff. The engineers know a lot more than me about that stuff, and I am not gonna re-engineer it with something some aftermarket company made. But everyone gets to choose for themselves. It's a free world so far. I put a little bit of straight coolant in it because we had some around I wanted to use up. For some reason you end up with 6 or 8 partially filled containers. So I'm trying to clean up some of that. So a little bit of water. Says it right there. This thing should be good to go. Alright guys, this thing has been running for 25 minutes. Hasn't gone over halfway on the gauge, so we got all the air out. There's a little plastic screw on the thermostat housing that helps bleed the air out, but it's not 100%. You still got to verify. But this thing's good. The air is ice cold. I'm gonna take it for a quick drive in the morning. It's done. This thing is nice. Hope you enjoyed today's video. We got a lot done. I did 2 oil changes with rotations and 1 regular oil change. I didn't film them because it was like cars with 8,000 and 10,000 miles on them. There wasn't anything really to see. Except one was a nice Lexus GX 470. But you gotta take 3 under trays off that thing to do an oil change on it. It took an hour. But anyway, enough about that. I'm not gonna film oil changes all day long. If I end up doing a bunch of oil changes, it's no fun. That's my new motto starting today. If it's no fun for me, I'm not gonna film it. Not that I'm not gonna show you that kind of stuff. Just the tedious, no fun stuff. I'm not gonna show you that. The drama, intrigue, mystery, suspense, action, I'll show you all that. Are you subscribed yet? There's no charge for that. I think that ends on Friday. That special comes to a close, so get it while it's free. And torque the like button. What else you gotta do? There's a whole list of things for you to do. There's too many YouTube rules. I hope you had a great day. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And more than anything, I hope I see you in another video, because you're awesome.